Welcome to Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day from the Pentagon in Sioux Falls. We are live on KSFL TV, SiouxFallsLive.com, and Midwest Sports Plus. And over the next few hours, you're going to hear from coaches and players from every single MVFC team. We'd like to thank our sponsor, First International Bank and Trust, for making this all possible. And without further ado, let's introduce the two men you'll be hearing from most consistently all day, veterans of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Matt Zimmer from Sioux Falls Live, Marcus Traxler from the Mitchell Daily Republic. And we're just going to lead this thing off right away and dive right into it with our first guests of honor. They're from South Dakota State University, and we'll deliver some news live on a Tuesday at 9 a.m. They are the Missouri Valley Football Conference favorites, the preseason favorites of 2026. The poll is out, and it's by a wide margin. 28 of 36 first-place votes go to the Jackrabbits, who were 9-5 last year, 4-4 in the league, and bounced in the round of 16 under first-year head coach Dan Jackson. Great to have you guys here. Dan, I know you're a little bit more excited about what you're doing later in the day than being here, but it's nice to have you here.
You got me fired up that intro. How long did you take to prepare that? You're
I may have rehearsed it on a longer than normal drive.
It's also 100 degrees outside, so it fits.
Yeah.
That was well done, buddy.
Well, I try.
No, we're excited to be here. Really excited to have Chase and Logan with us to be able to represent us, and excited about the honor of being picked first. Truly, preseason rankings don't mean a whole lot to us. I couldn't tell you where we were picked a year ago, and it's going to be about how we play on Saturdays. But excited about being here, and appreciate you guys investing in the day.
Well, guys, let's get right to it. Being picked first in the league, Coach just said preseason predictions only mean so much, but what does it mean to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's something you can look at. It's pretty cool to have the respect from people in the conference like that. So I think that's as far as it goes for me. And at the end of the day, and at the end of the day, it gets decided on the field. When anybody can win this conference. There's a lot of talented teams out here. So yeah.
Logan, I was just going to say, you and I talked in the spring about how hungry this football team is, especially for veterans like yourself who've been here a long time. When you get that, the poll comes out, it's media day, it kind of is like, okay, we're almost to the season. Just sort of what's the mindset like, the attitude of the team as the season's coming close, and all that stuff you've talked about, being hungry for a championship. It's about to get going.
Yeah, and you just got to take it day by day, every workout, every run, day by day, and make sure that you're, doing what you got to do to make sure when you do get to the season, you are fully prepared. So that's the thing we've been focused on all summer is, making sure when the day does come, we are prepared, because we have to be better than last year, and we will.
You talked about guys like yourself that have been there for such a long time. You admitted we're putting pressure on ourselves. There's pressure to go out and accomplish those goals. How do you manage that as far as wanting to have that pressure on yourself, wanting to have those expectations, but not letting it become overwhelming to where it, inhibits you?
Pressure is a privilege, just like anything you do in life. If there is no pressure on you, then you're doing something wrong. So I think when we go through every day and we have the high expectations and standards that we do have, that's a pressure. The privilege that we have to do that, I wouldn't ask for any other way, honestly.
Dan, how would you look at the motivating, coming off of last season? Is it a lot of the players driving it themselves? Are the coaches driving it? What's your viewpoint on sort of what that balance should be? And I guess how much do you try to, not burn yourselves out before the first game?
Yeah, truly, even finishing up on the preseason ranking, the cool thing about our program is nobody from the outside will be able to put a standard that's higher than what we have every single day when we walk into the weight room or the field. So we're able to embrace those things. There really isn't pressure in our program because there's a clear expectation and standard that we win a national title and that we win every single Saturday. So I think the boys are comfortable and used to that, and the staff. And then looking back a year ago, there are a lot of positives. And to me, when I reflect on that, a lot of the positives came off the field. Our culture not only maintained but strengthened. We became really close. We were a gritty, tough team. We fought through a lot of adversity, and that laid a foundation. But the truth of it is the football wasn't good enough, and we didn't coach well enough. We didn't play well enough, and there was some details on Saturdays that didn't look like South Dakota State football, and that's okay because we learned a lot from that, and now we can take what we have in the locker room and the brotherhood and the family and the connection, and then we are going to translate it on Saturday with how we play and execute with the discipline, physicalness, and connection that we play with. So we're excited. We won't run out of steam. I promise you that. There's plenty of motivation to go around, and truly there's a chip on the shoulder of every coach and player in the building.
Chase, how's the summer gone? I mean, I know you guys are able to do a lot of kind of self-coaching workouts and stuff. Almost everybody's here, I know, at this point. Just how's the summer gone? How do you feel like the kind of progress you've made?
Yeah, it's been super fun just being up there with the guys. I mean, we're the only people on campus pretty much. There's some basketball players and everything, but it's basically football guys up there all summer. So it's a good time to bond and like continue to build the culture, like Coach said. It's stronger than it's ever been. So I'm super pumped up for this year and the guys we have. It's a super good group. So
you finally got a chance to be QB1 last year after a long wait, and you played very well, and then you got hurt. Obviously, we've gone over that ad nauseum, but how motivated are you? How driven are you for this year? Because obviously there's a lot at stake for you and the team.
Yeah, I'm just super excited to play a season with the guys we have. I love the senior class that we have this year. And we got a great group of guys, and obviously nobody wants to get hurt, but injuries are going to happen. And I think my job for this year is like getting guys prepared that maybe last year there wasn't as many guys prepared when injuries happen, and that you could see that lead on further in the year. But getting the rest of the team up to the standard because we need to raise the floor, and we know how high our ceiling can be, and we have the most talented team that we could ever want, and Coach has done a great job recruiting. So I feel like the job this summer is to kind of raise that floor up. So when injuries happen and things happen in the season like they are going to, this can't go around that. It's those guys that need to step up. There's going to be guys on the team that need to step up this year, and that's what the summer's for. It's been a great summer.
Chase, you came into this program your first couple of years. You're watching a front seat view of Mark Gronowski leading the Jacks to a couple national championships. And as Matt said, then you get your first go at it last year. And, of course, off season, people were wondering, are you coming back for your senior year? Because Mark took a whole lot of money and played at a really high level at the University of Iowa. We've certainly documented that your decision to stay. But what have you seen from your teammates, your coaches on and off the field or the community in the last several months? That I know you're going to say you feel pretty good about that decision. But what have you seen specifically that really makes you feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, I just love Brookings. I don't see myself really going anywhere else and picking up my whole life and starting somewhere new. That's what it really came down to. I love Brookings, and no amount of money could really change my decision there. So, and then the guys in the locker room, like I've said before, you can't beat the guys we have, and I love the guys on the team. So, community of Brookings is super special. I love Brookings, so it's been a great time in Brookings, and I want to finish it there. So.
Dan, you've got a week 0 game. Almost everybody in the league has a week 0 game now, which is somewhat new to this conference and to SDSU. What's different about the run-up to that game? I think you guys can start practice a little earlier. How will you sort of manage that? What's different about that process?
Really, I think they should stop calling it week 0. We're going to have to play 12 all the time anyway, so it's a little unique to me. I usually end up saying week 1 just because I think that way. It's our first game. But, no, we'll start July 29th to get the guys back, so technically maybe a little bit sooner than some teams that don't. The critical part of our schedule was to get 12 Division I football games, and I appreciate the work that our administration did and that our staff put in and really utilized a lot of our connections to be able to make that happen. That was not an easy process, but I didn't want the players to play a Division II game. We weren't going to play 11 games, and we certainly didn't want to have a situation where our bye fell in a unique position. So really excited about the schedule. Really isn't going to matter to me too much of who we play this week. This year it's going to be every Saturday we've got a game and we got to go. So we're looking forward to getting going on July 29th. It'll be a lot of fun.
Well, we can't wrap it up without asking about the team that isn't here this year, North Dakota State. I mean, we have to address the elephant in the room. How do you address that?
First, I appreciate, because last night I met with these guys and I talked to them about which questions they're going to get answered, and you've asked every one of them. So,
predictable.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a hard time. I would say 2 things. First, do we want to play that rivalry? Certainly. Would I love to play that game in the future? Certainly. Did we try to get that game on our schedule still this year? Definitely. But they made a decision. What I'm grateful for is the decision that we've made is we all want to play for a national title. Look at our conference. Look at the talent and the coaching and the depth of our conference. In a lot of ways, I think this is the best conference, one of the best in the country, certainly one of the best in our region, and I'm just grateful to be playing in that conference and have an opportunity to win a national title. That's something that I was not able to do as an assistant. These guys have one, but I know they want one for themselves. leading the team too. So it's a lot of fun, and it's motivating to be able to play for a national title.
How long had you been practicing that answer?
Just came up with that. I'm a little bit go with the gut here, John. I'm a go with the gut guy. I'm not too scripted.
Head coach Dan Jackson, quarterback Chase Mason, and defensive tackle Logan Green. Jackrabbits opening home against Stetson on August 29th. Thanks for kicking us off, guys. We appreciate it.
Appreciate your investment again.
You bet. It is Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day from the Pentagon in Sioux Falls, brought to you by First International Bank and Trust, and we'll be back.
Welcome back to our coverage of Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day here at the Pentagon. I'm Marcus Traxler with Matt Zimmer. We're joined by the Murray State racers. You guys know who you are. Sorry about that. Our coverage brought to you by First International Bank and Trust. Jody Wright, Jaden Walker, and AJ Shadid. Welcome to Sioux Falls, guys. Jody, tell us a little bit about your team. I can just tell by the two guys you brought here that physicality is going to be a point of emphasis here when you bring an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. So tell us about what you're expecting here in 2026.
Yeah, I think we've grown a lot in positive ways, and these two guys are examples of everything we want in our football program. Great young men to start with, but they work every day. They've both got bigger, faster, stronger since they've arrived on campus, and both of them are physical players that play football the right way, which you see a lot in this conference, and we know it's a line of scrimmage conference. And so, I feel like we've upgraded a lot of areas, specifically on the line of scrimmage with our offensive and defensive line. But I'm very excited. We guys worked really, really hard. Corey Sullivan, our strength coach, done an amazing job, and all our coaches. I think we had a good spring, carried on to a good summer. So, ready to get this season kicked off.
Jody, how much does it feel like there's some momentum here? I mean, you knew when you took over this job what you were in for, but you really saw towards the end of last season, you got that league win. You really could see the improvement. How much can that carry into this year?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been more proud of being associated with the team as I was last year because, you play in really great teams in this conference every week. A lot of them are top 10 and national championship contenders, like I say, every week, and our guys kept fighting. We had a lot of true freshmen last year. Felt like we got better each and every week, and to finish it off with a victory was very nice. And, I think just around town, our community, Dr. Patterson, our new president at Murray State, Nico Yanko, our athletic director, have done an amazing job. Nico's probably raised more money than any AD in the country, and we needed it. And, but it's a lot of positivity going on right now. We're getting new field turf, the Rudolph family field next year, so that's actually being laid down as we speak. Locker room additions, training room additions, weight room additions. So can't say enough about the administration support that's really trying to get us up. We know we play in the best conference in FCS football, and we're getting our standards up to where they need to be. So appreciate them.
Guys, how much do you feel like there's a lot of momentum that you can carry from the end of last year into this year?
I just feel great about it.
Hold it up.
I feel great about it. Like, we brought in a lot of new guys and stuff, and we bonded together as a team. Mm-hmm. So I feel great about going to next year.
AJ, what do you think?
I think the culture. This is my second year here. The culture is way better than it was last year, and it's way better than it was at the beginning of the summer. And so I think we just continue to recruit good dudes who work hard and guys that buy into the program, and we remove the guys that don't buy in. And so it's really good. We've been working hard all summer, so I feel like we're on the come up right now.
Jody, looking at the schedule, you guys have 2 FBS games on there this year. Just your thoughts on scheduling those 2. Those aren't going to be easy. And just how much more difficult are those games to play in and potentially win with the transfer portal and the way the rosters change?
Yeah, Oklahoma State, we got a lot of players from North Texas. They're going to be – Oklahoma State's a traditionally really great program. And it's tough. Middle Tennessee, it's been up there, top Conference USA team a lot. So, it's tough. But I tell people all the time, when you play in this conference, sometimes, there's a lot of – I would put the top teams in
You're
this
already
conference
playing some
against some top
teams,
25 FBS teams any day of the week. And in this conference, the coaching so well, the players are smart, tough, disciplined. And so, you've got to bring that every week. Maybe there may be some more pure talent sometimes in those FBS tools, but as far as football teams and players, it's hard to match what you see week in, week out in this conference. And whether it's Coach Hill at SIU and what they do, and Coach Jackson at South Dakota State, and Coach Mallory at Indiana State. Like every team is just well coached and a lot of good young men. So it's definitely challenging. But we love to play anybody, everybody. I think I still love the FCS, FBS matchups because I think it gives our players a chance to go play at a bigger stadium. We got to play at Missouri, my first game here as a head coach, in Kentucky, and I think that's a neat experience for guys to get to do that. And hopefully they'll put us back on the NCAA football game one day. That's my next agenda I want to get done.
Jay, what kind of what if you were to pick one thing that maybe we haven't talked about, what's one area where you feel like Murray State's going to be most improved this year?
Up front on the offensive defensive line, we brought in depth, so I believe that we can make a push this year.
AJ, one thing that's going to come up a lot today is the team that isn't here. North Dakota State. Obviously, they've been the king of the hill in this conference, in this league for a long time. Are you disappointed that they're not here anymore, that you don't get to have that big challenge? Or is there a little bit of a sense of, good, geez, we don't have to worry about them anymore?
I never got to play against them because this will be my second year in the conference, and we didn't play them last year. So I can't say how good or how great they were. I am disappointed a little bit. They're supposed to be the big bad team, and so I kind of wish we could play them. But I'm excited against who we play. Like Coach Wright said, the teams in this conference are great, and so we get to play against good competition every week. So.
Jody, how do you feel about that? Is because, like we said, NDSU brought a lot of positive attention to this league, to the FCS, but there does have to be a little bit of a sense of, well, that's one less,
I have a lot of respect for Coach Polisak and North Dakota State, a great program, and I think I would say right now, I bet they'll be bowl eligible and probably a top 25 team in FBS, and I think they played at that level when they were here. We did get to play them my first year. And it is definitely they're a great brand of football. I will miss the opportunity to play them. I love a challenge, but I'm sure our fans, and sometimes it is probably a little bit take a sigh of relief that another giant is out. But like I said, wishing them the best. And I think this conference was still the top conference with them leaving, and still I think every team in this conference is a playoff team, and so. But it would be they do have some neat traditions, and the Bison is a cool mascot. And, you can't argue with what they've been able to do it, and the way they've done it, the style of football they play is very impressive.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you being here. Thanks for giving us some of your time, and best of luck this season.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all so much.
More coverage from Sioux Falls when we come back.
Welcome back to Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day, brought to you by First International Bank and Trust. And we are joined now by the Illinois State Redbirds head coach Brock Spack, linebacker Ty Nykamp, and running back Victor Dawson. Guys, welcome to Sioux Falls.
Thanks for having us. It's great to be here.
Great to be here.
It's got to be great to be here. Coming off, I think, what we could safely call a magical season with your guys' postseason run, national runners-up. Brock, I'll start with you. Obviously didn't quite end the way you wanted it to, but had to be a special thing, the December run that you guys made.
Yeah, we to win 4 on the road like that, and really tough opponents, and our players were really focused and locked in, and we had a really good run. I think the Valley schedule helps you with that, and I was told that a long time ago by a guy named Craig Bull when I first came in the league. He said, you're going to get in the playoffs, whatever. I think it's 2012, and your experience in our league will really help you, and it's true. He was absolutely right, and I know we've been 7 or 8 times now, so it's a great league, and it gets us ready for that. So it was a magical run. Players played really well. We all came together. We had a senior quarterback, had a lot of experience. As you know, that's a big deal, and we had a great run.
Ty, how much momentum does that create? Your coach mentioned there are guys you have to replace, but there's guys coming back that were a part of that. How motivating is that to try and run it back?
No, yeah, it's very motivating. It was an awesome season, so much fun, but it leaves a bad taste in your mouth losing the game like that, and it's frustrating. But it's just fueled this team, this group. We're light years ahead of what we were last year, just because we had 5 more games than everyone else did. So the young guys got more reps. Then we hit the ground running with the weight room, and I think we're a lot farther ahead than we were last year, which is exciting for us. So it's about to be go time, and we're really excited, and we got a good group, so it's going to be a lot of fun this season.
Victor, the preseason poll came out today. You guys were picked second behind South Dakota State. I think when people look at it, the question they have is on the offense. Your coach mentioned quarterback moving on, some other great players. What can you tell fans, people that want to know what the Redbird offense is going to look like this year, how you're going to step up?
We have, I feel like we have a lot of depth. With the O-line especially, we got like at least 5 people that played last year. We got 2 transfers that came in, and wide receiver-wise, got a lot of depth there too. Feel like a lot of guys could go. And like Ty said, just with the playoffs, gaining a lot of experience. It was kind of like spring ball, but in the wintertime. So, just a lot of experience with that. And, I feel like we'll be pretty set on the offensive side.
Brock, obviously it was great success on the field to end last season. What has it done off the field? What has making that run done for interest in Redbird football?
Well, we've done it twice now. It was 10 years in between, which has been it's a long time, but it means a lot. It's particularly in recruiting. It makes you relevant on the national level. When you're recruiting players, to come to your school, you say, "Hey, listen, we have a unique opportunity to play for a national championship," because now you can say, "See, we did it," and you can help us get over the hump. So there's that kind of thing, and recruiting was good. We had good response there. I think our players, the way they have trained, we got their attention. I think they're all. It's been a really good off season for us, in the classroom, on the field, in training. It's just been a really good off season, and our guys are even more. I think Ty's right. I think we're way ahead of we were a year ago. That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean you're going to win more games, but it sure does give you an opportunity to build on where we're at right now, as opposed to where we were a year ago. So it's been really. You can feel it and you can see it, and there's just a lot of, when you play 17 games, you practice a lot. and our freshmen were in January, and you can see their eyes were big as saucers, weren't they? God, it was still playing. And this should have been over 3 months ago. And they've been high school players, and now and that's what I noticed about when we got into spring practice. You got to kind of teach the younger guys how to practice, and they kind of need reminders of that, but they jumped right into it because we practiced so much last fall that they just jumped right into it. We didn't have to coach that up at all. So, that's really good.
Coach, you mentioned that you've been there before to a national championship game. I'm just curious, what's the season like after that? How tough is it to get back to that point and, stacking good season after good season when you go on a magical run like you did to try and now restart from ground zero again in a way?
Right. That's a really good question, and I think it's, you're going to have to, you become the hunted now, and we seem to be, people are excited to play us anyways. I don't know, we got something wrong with us. They get pretty excited to play us. But
it's because you're good. That's why.
I don't know. But when you play on that national stage like that, that's what's the amazing thing about the North Dakota State runs and the South Dakota State runs. They did it in multiple years, and that's impressive. The team that just beat us in the finals has been there 3 years in a row, and they finally won one. So, but it's huge for you to get in that. But you get everybody's attention, everybody's red letter game. They got you circled.
Yeah, my next one for Ty. Sorry. To be on the list of guys in the preseason here, All-American teams, Buchanan Award watch list, how much of that do you take and, it's pretty cool and enjoy that, but also know that, it doesn't really matter until you get on the field? How do you kind of balance that in the months leading up to the season now?
Yeah, I think the big thing for me is just kind of over the last couple of years, I've been really blessed with a lot of opportunities to win awards. But I say the same thing every single time. It's no one really cares about the last season or the preseason hype. They care about what you do this season. So it's been awesome. I love it. It's really cool. But at the same time, if I go out and play terrible this season, no one's going to care. So I think the mindset is it's really cool. Be really happy about it. Be excited for it. But at the same time, you got to go out there, play your best, and kind of do the same thing you did, and the opportunities and the awards will come again. So.
You guys sent North Dakota State out of FCS with an L at the Fargo Dome. Brock, I'll just ask you real quick, our last question. Good riddance, Bison, or are you going to miss him?
I'm going to miss him. I really I enjoy playing against teams like that. My time in the Big Ten was the same way. You know, the Ohio States, Michigan, Penn States of the world. Those are fun in Notre Dame. It's fun to play those teams, and the Bison fall into that category. So I will miss them. I will say I don't know if we might be the only school we've done it twice. We beat App State in 2012. That was their last game until they went. After they had a 3-in-a-row run, and then we did it up there in Fargo. If you would have told us we'd have done that way with 6 turnovers, I'd have told you we might have gotten beat by 100. But our quarterback stayed locked in, and we had 3 tip balls, which you might, and 2 for one basically is a touchdown. No one was a touchdown. So you get one of those probably a year, and we had 3 of them in the same game, and I was impressed the way Tommy stayed locked in. He wasn't going to let that bother him, and. Remind me of his hero. He reminds me of his hero, a guy named Breeze. So he was very much like that. You know, I remember him. I remember us beating Ohio State, and he had 4 turnovers, 4 picks, and we won. You know, you don't beat teams like that without a player under center that can do that. And he reset his jaw and made some huge plays at the end of the game, and so it was great.
Well, Illinois State, good luck this season. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
We're back at the Pentagon in Sioux Falls. More coverage of Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day. We're joined by Youngstown State, the Penguins, here at Media Day. Coach Doug Phillips, Bo Brungard, the quarterback, Mike Wells, the linebacker. Guys, thanks for being here.
No, glad to be here.
Doug, we saw the preseason poll. We know what preseason polls are worth, but you guys are third. First time in about a decade Youngstown State's been up that high.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your prospects? I'm going to be honest, North Dakota State's not in the picture anymore.
No.
Everybody kind of, probably feels a little bit optimistic about where they might be headed.
Yeah, we don't talk about polls. We focus on things we can control, but really like our roster, going into year 7, going through and battling every year in the Missouri Valley, you're trying to build a strong roster. And, what I'm more excited about, we got a lot of 5th-year seniors that we recruited out of high school. I think 3 are All-Americans, and you know what? They decided to stay, and I don't know how much you see that in today's world. And with the mixture, we got some young guys I'm real excited about. Nobody knows who they are yet, but they've been working. We got some 2nd, 3rd years. So, we got 119 guys going into preseason camp that have been there all summer, and so we're just excited to get this season going.
How are you keeping all these guys around? You just alluded to it. It's kind of rare these days.
I give all the credit to the locker room. I think there's a brotherhood. I think when I see the connectedness of these guys and, knowing that they came in together, we looked at some pictures in the past when these guys were freshmen, but to keep the offensive line and keep some of the defensive players we've had, leading with Mike Wells, I think it's leadership. I think it's brotherhood. I think that these guys know that they're playing for something bigger. And they could have made a lot of money somewhere else. But I think they truly believe they're playing for something that's bigger than themselves. And they got to hear it all the time because, Bo's dad won 2 national titles, and we got probably 3 other players on our team whose father had won national titles. So I think they have a goal, and they want to achieve those.
Coach, we saw Illinois State make the run to the national championship game. Obviously South Dakota State and North Dakota State have gotten a lot of that attention recently, but it's always felt like the other teams in the Valley could maybe make that happen. What does them making a run like that do for the rest of the league to show it might be possible?
Well, I think it just gives you, 2 words that we focused on since January was belief. Belief. Belief when you're up 17-7 at halftime that, we can beat these guys. And I think that's the one missing chink that in our armor last year was the belief that we can beat anybody on our schedule, and then to have the discipline to do it for 60 minutes. So that's kind of been the focus. We win or we learn, and we had some hard learning things last year against a lot of tough opponents, and those were painful. But if we learn from it and we apply it to this year, we have faith that we could end up on top.
But we'll ask this one for you. It seemed like last year maybe you snuck up on some people here and there. Well, now you're the returning Walter Payton Award winner. not going to happen this year? How do you approach maybe it a different way of knowing that you guys are kind of what Illinois State referred to of the hunted instead of being the hunters this year?
Yeah, being able to get that award last year was great, but we know as a team, and me personally, it's all about the team and reaching our team goals. And there's a certain work ethic and a standard that I live by that has gotten me to this place, and just understanding that last year doesn't matter, having zero complacency, and just striving forward with that same work ethic. That got me to this place. Just striving forward with that. To be successful in this next year.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Mike, how much did it kind of provide a shot in the arm for this program when Bo came back? I mean, a lot of guys in his situation might not have.
Yeah, I think that was just, it gave us, the rest of our guys, the confidence, and kind of the bravery of him to do that and show how much Youngstown means to him. So that, whenever that happened for me, it was like, okay, he's doing it. That was just another thing I needed. It was always pretty clear that I was going to stay in Youngstown. My family's close by. I value that. I value my family over money. I value the brotherhood we have over money. And I value competing. Whenever we're playing with some of the best coaches in the country and, the best player in the country, you always have a chance to win. And I want to play for a national championship. And I want to be the bridge that builds the gap, to get Youngstown back to the national championship, heritage that they had back in the 90s.
Coach, I'll go back to you. Last year, a nice season in the Missouri Valley, but still came up short against South Dakota State, UND, some of the top teams in the conference. How do you guys get over that hump now and, not just beat, the middle-level teams, but also, take down some of those top teams as well this upcoming season?
Just a belief that everything that we do in our preparation, what we do in the offseason, what we do in the weight season, what we do in preparing for those games, we know we have the players. We got some great football players. Now putting it all together. And, last year, again, I sensed it. I sensed walking down the ramp, looking up, and it's 17-7, and it could have been really 24-7, and we had a penalty in the red zone right before half to really extend the lead. And then it's, when you do have a lead or you are being successful, that you got to play for all 60. You can't be thinking about going to Montana State the next weekend. And those are the areas, those were hard lessons, blowing a 35-7 lead against Yale. Tough lessons that we got to own, and then we got to figure it out. And last year, I just felt at times, we had those things that would come up, and I really think that we put a focus this winter, this spring, really love our kids. I love the effort that they're putting into it, love the camaraderie, knowing it's going to be a tough season. And that we got to go do something that hasn't been done. And number one, go beat the Dakotas. We haven't. So we got to start checking things off. We put when I got there, and again, this is off the field, but we had a goal. When, I came in, it was a 2.9 average. We said one day we're going to have a 3.4. That was goal number one, a 3.4. Well, guess what? We're a 3.4 team average, one check mark. Now, guess what? We got to go we got to go win a Missouri Valley Football Conference championship. You do that, that puts you in position to go win a national championship.
Guys, we've been asking a lot of the teams today, are you going to miss North Dakota State? Are you disappointed you don't get a chance to challenge them this year? Or is there a sense of, hey, that cracks the door open a little more? How do you look at that?
No, we were disappointed we're not getting them this year. Having the opportunity to go to their place last year, just in front of that crowd in that environment. And I thought we played a great game, just too many errors, too many turnovers that really cost us. But, we feel like we had them. And then coming into this year, getting to get them on Halloween at home under the lights, we were excited for that. So, we're a little upset because we know what we're capable of. And that would have been awesome for us to go against them. But so we're definitely feeling a little disappointed we don't get to play them again.
Yeah, I'd say I didn't really view it as the doors cracking open. Whenever I heard that and I seen that they were leaving, kind of thought back to what happened at their place, and it was just the couple mistakes that cost us to lose that game. But yeah, I just obviously want another shot at them. Never shy away from the competition. I think whenever you get the chance to play teams that are good with a good history, you should want to do that. So obviously them not being here, some people may view it as like a plus, but it's kind of a negative for us because, it's kind of like a bar to see where we're at. You know what I mean? So, obviously wanted to play him, but Coach always says you don't get second chances, so that's why you can't let the first one slip.
Well, guys, good luck this season. Thanks so much. Youngstown State.
Thanks for having us. Go Gwins.
Go Gwins.
Welcome back to Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day, brought to you by First International Bank and Trust. We are here with the Indiana State Sycamores. Head coach Kurt Mallory, offensive lineman Drew Page, and linebacker Braxton Sampson. Guys, welcome to Sioux Falls.
Yeah, it's great to have us.
I know you were in Sioux Falls less than a year ago, celebrating probably your biggest win of the year when you defeated South Dakota State. We don't need to get straight into that, but just coming off of last year, having some momentum, I think, coming into this year. Everybody's optimistic before the season starts. Coach, I'll start with you. Just what are sort of the feelings about your team this year?
Well, we've had access with them for the first time, which has been fabulous. And I think the one thing you really enjoy is getting around your players. Mm-hmm. And every year the personality changes. And really love this team. I like how they're coming together. And just anxious to get started in a week and a half.
Drew, how's the summer going with you guys?
It's been really good. We brought back a lot of our O-linemen. And we were a really young team last year. Started a lot of guys that were, either their first year starting or second year. So we brought in a lot of guys that were, brought back a lot of guys that are really hungry to kind of get going and get back on the field.
Braxton, what do you like about this team? Personnel-wise, attitude-wise, what makes you excited about the Sycamores?
Well, I've been at Indiana State this is my 5th year now, and this is the closest team that we've ever had. We hang out outside of football. We're always together. And, we work hard, and we want to – it's a team that really wants to succeed for each other, too, which I think is a huge thing. So,
Kurt, we've noticed that a bunch of the Valley teams are playing in Week 0. Maybe it should be Week 1, but Week 0. What does that do to the preseason preparation? I imagine you start a little earlier. And how important is it, or how do you view sort of having that game at the end of August?
Well, in the past we've tried to play it, and we've always done it on Thursday. And I wanted to kind of get away from that. I wanted to kind of get into a normal routine, Monday through Friday. These guys kind of laugh. I'd say, okay, today is a Monday when it's really a Wednesday, right? And you're trying to, go through that whole process. But I wanted to get into a normal week. We've got a great opponent to start off. Well, big challenge. We play SEMO. They come to our place. It'll be exciting. We'll play at night, but looking forward to getting going.
I cover the University of North Dakota, and I think when you guys came to Grand Forks, you were going through some quarterback, switching around. What have you seen here from Elijah Owens, his comeback, and what are you kind of seeing at the quarterback spot here?
Yep, it was unfortunate. Elijah got hurt in the second game of the season. Keegan Patterson came in and did an admirable job all year. But the one thing I'll say about Elijah is he never missed a practice, never missed a preparation. Came into every game, even though he wasn't going to play, he was ready to play. And it really helped the other quarterbacks and how you prepare and when you're hurt. And, he never stopped preparing. And it really showed in the spring, knowing how he's done, and the players saw that. A lot of times guys sit over there and, maybe feel sorry for himself. That wasn't the case. And he actually stood in front and was always ready and was always being a great teammate. And that's really taken off here this summer.
Braxton, I made reference to a huge win last year in Brookings against South Dakota State. You mentioned you've been with this program a long time. What did it mean to you to get a win like that? I think you guys were like 28-point underdogs or something.
Yeah, it was awesome. We've had a lot of games in the past like that where we've been the underdog and we've been close, but we've never just been able to get the job done. So being able to really put it all together was an amazing feeling. So.
Coach, how big is a win like that just to kind of show your players, show potential recruits, show your fans we can play with those teams that are national championship contenders?
Well, that's part of being in this conference. Anyone can beat anyone can lose to anyone, right? And I think week in and week out, that's why this is the best conference, and every week you're playing against a really, really good opponent. And that was a great victory for our program. As Braxton alluded to, we've been close, and it was nice to finally get one there.
Looks like you guys graduated some talent at the skill positions. What are you seeing about who might fill some of those roles, kind of explosive playmaker types for you guys here?
Yeah, Rashad Rochelle is with the Seattle Seahawks right now. And, of course, he was a dynamic player. He had a big play in the South Dakota State game with a kickoff return. But, you're seeing that group really come together as a whole, and Rashad was probably the leader, and the statistics wise. But now you're seeing guys like Keyshawn Singleton step up. You're seeing guys like B.J. Wiest step up, guys that have been in the program, waited their opportunity. And then we got a group of guys, I think you can play 9, 10 of them and go in there at any time. And it's really helped our quarterback situation too. When you got talent, I really like our tight end position. So when we're throwing the ball, we got targets to throw to.
Drew, we've been asking everybody today, North Dakota State, good riddance, or are you going to miss them?
I'm going to miss them because I never got to play in the Fargo Dome. But, they're a very good team. And it'll be very interesting to see how well they do moving up. I know last year we had a really good game against them with a 3-hour delay in the middle because of some
that's
rain.
Right. I forgot about that.
But it was a good game, and, they're very talented. And, some of those guys, I know some of the guys on the staff, and they're great coaches, and the players are even better. So, it'll be sad to see a team like that leave because they've been so good for the Valley, right? But now it kind of opens stuff up. You know what I mean? Because the Valley's always great, and there's always good teams. But when one good team leaves, another one steps up. So.
Well, guys, I think that's all we got. But good luck this season. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much.
We'll be back after this.
We've got the North Dakota Fighting Hawks in the building here. Guys, welcome to Sioux Falls. Coach Eric Schmidt, Jerry Kaminsky, the quarterback, Lance Rucker, a linebacker. Guys, tell us a little bit about your team and maybe talk with Coach Schmidt. What is the pulse of this team? You guys have been pretty consistently in the mix in this league, but how do you feel sort of this team is shaping up for 2026?
Yeah, thanks for having us, number one. Just really excited about the leadership of our team. Obviously, the second year now with our staff in there, I think a lot of familiarity with the coaches, obviously being there before and hitting the ground running. But for these guys, getting used to, 12 new position coaches, getting used to all the helpers and supporters that are coming in the building now. Just the relationships now that have been built, like so much stronger. Guys more comfortable as far as, what the daily process looks like, what the yearly calendar looks like. So excited about that. And then just how they've taken our program and really ran with it. I've always said that being player led is really important. The best teams are player led, and the leadership that our older guys and these two guys to my left have showed has been really good.
Lance, you were recognized here as a Buck Buchanan nominee. What was this last year like for you as you transitioned from an outside backer in the 3-4 to an edge in Eric Schmidt's, kind of new scheme? What was that transition like?
I feel like it was awesome. It was a good transition. I feel like it was for the better, and I felt like I could impact the team a lot more being in a different role. So,
well, Coach, last year you guys came here, and maybe there was some uncertainty about who's going to play quarterback, what this new defensive scheme was going to look like, some new faces. Do you sense a different vibe right now, being a little bit more established coming here this year?
I think there's some confidence for sure. There's a lot of belief in the building, which is really important. Obviously having certain positions back. I think any time with the way college football is designed now, once the season ends, you got to be able to hold on to one of your quarterbacks. So feel really good about Jerry. Obviously, the second year that you go through something, I don't care what you do, first time job, first time you go to class, first time you go to college, like there's a learning curve, right? So I think everybody around him believes now when they're in the huddle, hey, this guy's been there, he's done it before, he's done it at a high level, and I think just throughout his entire process at UND, he continues to grow and get better and get better. Obviously, a lot of people know about, he spent some time with the Mannings here, this summer. It's the top, 40 quarterbacks in college football, and he didn't miss a beat. To go down there and compete with those guys. I know it's not in a game situation, but there's a lot of good players and a lot of talent out there. So for Jerry to get hot and go win that thing was awesome, right? And then I think just defensively, there's certain positions I think that you want to be a championship defense, you got to be good at, and the edge position is really important. And what Ruck's done to disrupt quarterbacks. Broke our sack record here a year ago, and then the guy opposite of him, Caden Vig, who's on some preseason teams too as well. I think there's certain spots where, you got to be established and be good if you want to be a championship football team. We were able to keep Jerry, keep our quarterback room intact, keep our offensive line room intact, which is really, really important, and then also some key players on defense too as well.
Well, Jerry, I wanted to ask you about the quarterbacks throughout this conference. There's a lot of good ones. There's Chase Mason, DJ Williams, Bo Brungard, yourself. You're certainly in that discussion. I'm curious if there's sort of I'm sure after the game you're shaking hands with the opposing quarterback. You guys, is there a little bit of a camaraderie amongst quarterbacks in this league, or I don't know if competition is the word, but you're kind of driven by that team's quarterbacks are great, I want to be great too?
Yeah, there's a certain respect for those guys you definitely have going out there competing and, watching them on film. I mean, those are all great quarterbacks like you mentioned, and it's more of a respect thing when you see those guys and get to be around them. It's awesome, and those dudes are great dudes, but then there's a lot of competition in our own quarterback room back at UND. I mean, we got 3 other great dudes in there. It's a great room with Javance, Jack, and Brooks. I mean, every day is a competition in there, whether we're on the field, in the classroom, in the weight room. We're competing a lot, so it's a little bit of a difference there, but it's awesome.
Eric, just looking at your schedule, I think you have a Thursday night opener in week 0, so that's as early as you can start it up. What's your thought on having a week 0 game? Basically everybody in the league has a week 0 game this year, and what does that do for the preparation? I imagine you start a little earlier. What are your thoughts on the league sort of embracing that?
Yeah, one I'm a huge proponent of it. I think starting earlier, getting the season done earlier, there's no reason that, especially with everything that happens at the end of the season with, championship games, portal, trying to get kids into school. Like, college football has always been New Year's Day-ish kind of, hey, we're getting over. I think it makes sense for these guys, as far as their schedules go too as well. So I think we're trending that way. Next year, week 0 is going to be week 1, and we're off and running. So we start here at the end of July. Our guys are ready to go. I think you get to a certain point, end of July, early August, you're tired of running gassers and and bending iron and doing all that stuff, and it's time to put the helmet and the shoulder pads back on and get back to playing football. And I'm excited about it. Obviously the Thursday game is a little bit it helps you come in a little bit earlier, but we start school that Tuesday, so there'll be a really good vibe on campus. Our place will be rocking. It'll be a lot of fun in the tailgate and in the arena. So got a good opponent coming in. I mean, Long Island's picked to win their league this year. They went to Eastern Michigan and won. So anytime you're playing somebody good, it gets your attention, too as well. And we want to play in those non-conference games. Those games, for playoffs and things like that, and just making sure your strength of schedule in your league, you got to be, playing good people in August and September too as well.
Guys, in the last couple years, the rivalry with North Dakota State obviously became even more fierce as you guys leveled up in that rivalry. How much are you going to miss it?
I'm going to personally miss it a lot, but, I mean, it's on to new things this year. We're ready to attack the Missouri Valley this year and kind of, feel some new rivalries and make some other games just as exciting and even more exciting. So we're looking forward to that as well.
I think we'll see him again eventually, but, I mean, we still have other opponents we have to focus on too. So.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in the state obviously was something that throughout time, right, was always really competitive and was good for the state. I think now the cool thing about it still it puts a lot more emphasis on all the Dakota games, right?
Yep.
Now between South Dakota State and South Dakota and North Dakota, like those are still where all the recruiting battles are. That's where the kids who grow up geographically in this area, those are the schools that they know, that they watch, every single weekend. So yeah, I just think it puts some added emphasis now into those other 2 Dakota games that we'll play this year.
Lance, coming off a record-setting season, what did you approach this off season hoping to? What were your goals or focuses in terms of coming back and having a strong final season?
A lot of my goals this year were just focusing on giving back to the younger guys, just giving back the techniques and things I learned from my time being here, and just giving back to the young guys and teaching them how they can be better and teaching them how I learned and different stuff like that.
And Coach, as you guys look to the defense here, you got a hole to fill kind of at linebacker and at safety as you lose Malachi McNeil and Zach Lewis. What are you seeing from the guys that might have to replace those 2?
Great question. I think, there's some guys in there that maybe have a little bit more of a traditional trajectory. They've been in our program for 3 or 4 years, have kind of waited their turn. Malachi played early in his career. So when you're a freshman starter and you come in right behind that guy, it's hard sometimes, right? When he's established as a young player there, you're kind of playing behind him your entire career. So we feel like we got some guys who have played a lot of special teams, been backups, and now they're ready to evolve into starters, which, a lot of times, throughout college football, when you were at an elite program, you had to wait your turn, right? You didn't show up and play right away. That's probably changed a little bit now just with the landscape. So I feel good about, hey, guys who know the system, they're going to be in the right place at the right time. It's not a huge learning curve for them or anything like that. And then I think at safety and then really overall with our team, building depth. I think anytime you look at our league and just, how competitive it is, how physical it is, the teams usually that are the deepest are the teams who are going to, have ultimately the best chance to be able to win the league late in the year.
They are the North Dakota Fighting Hawks. Guys, good luck this season. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back with more coverage of Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day after this.